Yeah. Yeah, this is like way more advanced equipment than I ever worked on. I'm used to working like Adobe or other ones. This is way more advanced. I had started meat. Thanks.
Sure thing. Money and, you know, interested.
And what is this room right here?
This is the studio, so this is where the cameras typically, if we're doing a multi-camera shoot, this is where we would do it. We have a couple different sets that we use.
Yeah, it looks like you guys have the background and you guys have a TV area
Yeah.
that produce.
So then, right now, we just finished this shoot called Crisis Intervention Training.
Yep.
2 weeks ago, and then so we'll take down most of this stuff and then set up for the next event.
All right. So
Finding an interface that you feel comfortable with, and so if CyberLink does that for you, then you know I think you're further ahead. You know, to use.
I'd like to learn a lot of that other stuff. That's
you know,
more technical.
Yeah, use that. So you know,
I'm just used to that.
it's like a lot of other things. You know, if it's fairly intuitive and stuff like that, then you're more likely to use it. If it's clunky in any particular way, then you know it becomes a frustration, and then you don't want to do it. You know, so.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so you ready to do this?
Sure.
And you are giving me your authorization to put you on video.
Sure.
And your name.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what is your name and what is your position here?
My name is Tom Frantz, and I am currently an instructor for CTA 106, which is Applied Journalism Television.
All right. And what organizations have you done for through your class?
Lots. Because I've been here for over 30 years and doing video, we've worked with a lot of different community organizations. Last year we worked with the Community Foundation of the Fox River Valley to produce some videos to acknowledge their community service volunteers at a big banquet. So there were probably 400 or 500 people at the Paper Valley Radisson Hotel for a banquet, and then they were honoring individuals who had contributed their a lot of time and stuff to different organizations, nonprofit organizations in the community. And so we developed short 2-minute videos about each of the award recipients. Last year we worked with Appleton Downtown Incorporated to develop some videos to promote the downtown. We worked with the Fox Cities Chamber of Commerce. They had a couple different events last year, one where they had a banquet and honored various businesses, and then they had a second event where they honored entrepreneurs, new businesses, and so we were asked to record both of those two events. We also worked with the Fox Cities Rotary Clubs. The Rotaries have been operating in the Fox Cities for a long time, and this is an anniversary year for them. So they wanted videos from current Rotarians that talked about the impact that Rotary has had in the various communities. Because Rotary is a nonprofit service organization, so they're very active in our community and do a lot of different kinds of things there. So, I mean, those are kind of like just, you know, a sample of the different kinds of community organizations that we've done work for. But if you trace it back, I mean, it goes way back, and we've worked with a lot of different organizations through the years.
Okay, so you do think videos do help the community a lot by the videos instead of other ways?
Yeah, I do. I think it's important, like in the case of the Community Foundation, to acknowledge those volunteers, but you know, the video can provide like a 2-minute recap, you know, to the 500 people that were there. It can give them kind of like a taste of the kind of commitment that those volunteers performed in order to win the award. But secondly, I think it can also inspire people. So after those videos, after we completed those videos and they were available, they were made available at the Community Foundation of the Fox River Valley's YouTube channel. Many of the different service clubs and organizations have websites, and so some of those were able to use the video as a way of encouraging volunteers. But then the Post Crescent, for example, used our videos and made them available through their website as a way of encouraging volunteers in the Fox cities.
So you're saying, do you guys have a YouTube or no?
So the campus does, yes.
You just said
but we could post things there. In this particular situation, we were working for the Community Foundation of the Fox River Valley, so this was really their project, not so much for the campus. This was for them, and so you know, they were our client, and it was up to them to decide the best method for distributing their work.
All right.
And that's true for like the Chamber of Commerce or Appleton Downtown Incorporated. If there's a client involved, then you know, it's their prerogative to decide how best to distribute the videos that we complete for them.
All right. And from the videos you've made, have you seen anybody actually get help from them, actually learn, or from your experience, anybody come or comment or tell you, hey, I've learned something from this video, thank you for making it?
Yeah, definitely. By doing the videos, the students here learn because they're actually working for a client. This is not like a project that I invent, right, in a classroom. It's not like some kind of, you know, project that I say, hey, let's all go out and do a drama, or let's all go out and do, you know, a how-to video or something like that. This is a real project. You know, we treat these community organizations as though they're clients, and so the university students not only learn about how to create the videos, but they learn about how to work with a client to meet the client's needs and to identify the client's needs. And you know, and that's kind of unique in a way, because it's not often that you have the opportunity to do that as a student. Most of the time you're doing some kind of structured classroom exercise. So that's one component of learning. The second component of learning, I think, occurs with the public at large. And those people who see the videos learn some things, and like when we did the videos for the Community Foundation, we were at the banquet and we could see the impact that those videos had. People were laughing, you know, at certain times, or inspired, or there was one story that had a kind of a sad element in it, and people were sad. You could see the reactions. You could hear reactions of people, and afterwards, a lot of people came up to the students and I at the banquet and talked about that. It can be a very powerful thing when you know what's in the video and you can watch the audience and see what the impact is.
All right. And what do you think is the most important about it when making a video?
I think the most important thing about making a video is really trying to meet the client's needs and have impact on the audience, whether that's something that you want them to know or something that you want them to feel or some combination of those kinds of things. When you have impact, you know you've succeeded as a filmmaker.
Yeah, and then I'm going by impact by emotional. So you would say that a video could change a person's point of view or their emotions when they're watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. There, you know, I talked a little bit earlier about this shoot that we recently did called Crisis Intervention Training. And that's a project that we have been doing for probably a dozen years now. And it makes a lot of sense, but the nutshell is that police officers, generally speaking, are taught, they're typically the first people at a scene. If there's something unusual or wrong, police officers get dispatched to go there. And many times when they get there, it's not always a crime. Sometimes it can be a person who isn't normal. They can be in all kinds of states of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so crisis intervention training is all about helping police officers cope with people who are suffering from some kind of mental impairment. And today it runs the gamut. I mean, well, it's always run the gamut, but it can be a person who's depressed. It can be a person who is suffering from Alzheimer's disease and they're disoriented. It can be a person who maybe is psychotic or bipolar or manic depressive or just anxious. It can be a person with suicidal thoughts. And I know that because of our work with helping to train those police officers in crisis intervention training, that those police officers are better equipped to go out there. I know of one situation where an officer talked a person off a bridge from committing suicide because they had gone through the training exercise here that we do with community organizations.
So you guys actually made that video here for Crisis to help
So
police?
yeah, so the way that it works is there are 4 days of training that occur in a classroom, and police officers learn all about different mental impairments, effective coping strategies, etc. Different kinds of drugs that are used, and they bring in professional mental health professionals. They bring in doctors. They bring in a variety of people during the 4 days of that classroom training. On the 5th day, and that's when we get involved. So what we do is we bring those police officers to our campus, and they are put into role play situations. We have actors who have been trained in how to be depressed, how to be, what kinds of things does a depressed person say? What kinds of things does a suicidal person say? So the police officers are then brought into these role play situations, and we try to make it as real as possible for them. So what we're doing is filming this and sending the signal into the classroom where the other members of the class are watching what's going on, and they're learning by observing their fellow classmates go through those role play exercises. And furthermore, they're trying to analyze what works, what doesn't work, so that in the event that they get injected into those kind of situations, either later on our role play day or at some point in the future they have some sense, they already have a little bit of experience in that situation that they can draw from, you know. So, you know, I think in our day and age today, I think police officers and other first responders need that kind of training. I think it becomes even more. I mean, it's almost every day. You know, you read about somebody who's mentally disturbed and for whatever reason, and people's lives are at stake, whether it's the public or that person or even police officers. So I think it's really valuable training.
So that's just one of the examples of the videos that you actually help with the community.
Yeah.
So have you guys ever done any learning videos or any other kind of videos?
Sure.
You guys have done
Yeah,
those too?
we've done those too. Last year, we worked with a local chef, and he needed some segments shot for his show. And it's a cooking show, right? It's a how-to show, so it's an instructional show. So we worked with him, and his show is syndicated, so it runs on TV stations throughout the United States.
All right. And what is your background history of video?
When I was in college, I was more interested in radio. And I went into radio, and after a couple years in radio, I started to get interested in the visual aspect of communication. So went and got my master's degree in communications and kind of focused specifically on the visual component. So then after that, I got lucky. After I'd finished grad school, I was looking for a job, and UW-Fox Valley was looking for somebody who did what I did. And they had aspirations to build a video program. So when I got here, really it kind of started building the video program. It was pretty non-existent before I got here.
All right. And then would you have any points of view or anything you want to add, like if somebody's wants to make videos, or somebody's just beginning to learn, or somebody that just wants to get the right footsteps to try to get into video to actually show the right emotions, what would you explain the best way to go if you're starting off?
Yeah, I think the key thing there is getting busy and doing it. And then once you get busy and start doing it, there's a lot you can teach yourself, and it's a lot easier today. It's more accessible today. The equipment generally, you could start with some really pretty basic equipment. In the old days, it was really, really expensive. So it's easier today, I think, for people to make films, and I think. And so doing it is number one. Get busy and start to do it. And then the second part of it is never stop learning, be open to criticism. And there are people who are going to like your work, and they're going to tell you things that they enjoy, and that's useful. There are also people who are going to bash your work for a variety of reasons, and that can tell you things too.
And that's just the
sometimes it's mean-spirited, and you have to develop a little bit of a thick skin because not everybody's going to like your work.
Yeah.
But there are also people who are going to not like something and tell you why, and it can be very constructive because if they tell it to you in a constructive way, you can learn from that too, and you can say, you know what, that's legitimate feedback. And so then, hopefully, if it's a mistake or something, then, make that mistake again, you know, or you take that information and you use it to make your work stronger, you know. After all these years, I mean, I still make mistakes, you know, and I have to go back and I have to fix things, and there are projects that I really like that I did, and there are projects that I don't like particularly well. So I think the idea is to always try to grow and learn from that experience, and always try to make your work better.
Okay. And thank you for your time for interviewing. And
Sure
then
thing.
also, if anybody else wanted to learn about videos or anything at UW Fox Valley, what course would you tell them to take?
So if they're interested in getting credit for it, they can take CTA 106, which is Communication and Theater Arts, Applied Journalism, Television. It's a 1-credit class that's offered every semester. And then every other semester, usually in the spring semester, I offer a 3-credit class, and if there's sufficient enrollment, the class will run. If there's not, then it won't. But the 3-credit class goes into much more theory about why are different formats of television shows, how it all works, how the shows get put together. That's a much deeper class. 106 is a very hands-on, experiential type class, workshop type class. 221 goes into more theory. It still has that hands-on learning. I don't think you can teach television without doing hands-on. I don't think there's a good way to do it.
All right.
That way.
Well, thank you for your time.
Sure thing.
Thank
Good luck
you.
with your project.